Eritu ano to obunaru fata aniro anna fatadam. Eritu ano to obunaru fata aniro anna fatadam.
I handed Stanley a dried leaf with my loose tobacco. I still couldn't roll these homemade smokes myself. He rolled it for me and handed it back, and it made me cough, but he didn't break stride in his story. We would work every morning the same time, and the Chinese bosses would get very mad if you were late. My job was to spray the water on all the new dirt they dropped into the machine. The machine would shake it and break the dirt up, and then it would go to a smaller machine. When it was all broken up, we could see if there were bits of gold in the dirt. Stanley was among the few who had ever left Wabaku to work for a gold panning company. He was paid a wage, and he came back with some wild stories. He and I sat in his house late at night, well after his family was asleep. I tried listening hard to his stories, but I kept missing pieces because he was using words I hadn't learned yet. But before he could finish his final thought, someone started yelling from across the village. Stanley stopped mid-sentence to listen. A look of terror tore across Stanley's face. He turned off his flashlight, and we sat with nothing but the dim firelight. Stanley reached for a pot of water and doused the fire. It sizzled, and a deep darkness filled the house. The image of fear on Stanley's face was still burned into my mind's eye as we sat in the blackness. "Orai, Fatadom, what happened?" I asked. He didn't answer me. We just sat in silence. I was stunned. I know he heard me. Why wasn't he answering me? What was he afraid of? And now I was getting worried. I was a few hundred yards away from my house where my family was sleeping. If there was some danger, I needed to know and get home. Why didn't he answer? I asked again, "Orai, what?" He whispered a reply. "Aysik no bikabu nim yarin wetu waidere totiwa." Aysik just saw an evil spirit in the village. I could hear others yelling a version of this news from house to house. I leaned my head out of Stanley's door to see fires going out one by one in the village. The whole village sat in silence and darkness together, hiding motionless as if from a predator. The longer we sat in silence, the more a debate arose in my mind. Sitting with him in this obvious fear might be communicating something I don't want to communicate. Why should I be hiding too from this evil spirit? Was I endorsing this? But what else could I do? Go wander through the village to prove I'm not afraid? What would that communicate? Maybe I should just wait it out. But no, sitting felt too easy, and maybe I'm addicted to risk. Despite not knowing how it would be perceived, I told Stanley, "Tamo te tamawi. All right, I'm gonna roll." "Oh," he said in surprise. I didn't give him a chance to try and stop me. I stood up, said, "Oradama, good night," and I was gone. There was a little moonlight lighting the trail back home, and I reached for my phone to turn it on as a flashlight, but then I put it back in my pocket. Maybe walking flashlightless could demonstrate more clearly that I wasn't afraid. I walked by a house. My footsteps were the only noise in the village. Someone popped their head out of a window and saw me walking without a flashlight. "Ayo," he whispered. "Tawaki awa atedom." Tawaki's out there walking. Tawaki's my village name. I was pleased to hear the surprise in his voice too. Maybe what I was doing was stupid in their eyes, but it was at least getting their attention. I walked confidently, proud of my own bravery. But then a thought crept up on me. What if there was something out there? What if I wasn't brave but stupid to be walking towards an evil spirit? Suddenly, fear gripped me quickly like a cold wind in my stomach. I fought to keep walking slowly, trying to look confident. Was there something out here? What am I doing? God, don't let me be afraid, I prayed. I followed the moonlit path, greeted a couple more houses on the way home. "Oradama, good night." Same surprised responses. I climbed up my steps and went inside. Lakin was in bed singing along to Taylor Swift, and the fear left instantly. I don't think T. Sweezy has any magical powers, but I think for me, maybe hearing Lakin's voice does. After singing, "She's cheer captain and I'm on the bleachers," I felt kind of silly for being nervous at all. Whether I risked a dangerous situation or simply avoided to fall for a trick of the ancestors, I'd never know. But the fear on Stanley's face never left me. For him, it was real. And for him, dousing the fire and staying quiet was protecting his family. This fear of the spirits, I would find, was at the very bedrock of Wabaku culture, and this fear would prove to be the most formidable foe we would face in the years to come.